It's 6 p.m. on Tuesday, March 7th, 2023, and I hereby call this regularly scheduled meeting of the City Council to order. Could you please bow your heads for invocation by Councilwoman Lisi?
Lord, we come before you tonight with humble hearts. Please be with us as we work together for the good of Diamond Head. Please guide our actions and help us to be ever mindful of the needs of others. We pray for wisdom, for strength, and for courage to do what is right and good for all of Diamond Head. May we put the interests of others above our own, and may we act with love for the common good, and may we be good neighbors, recognizing your image in every person. We ask all this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
DePrio.
Here.
Councilmember Finley.
Here.
Councilmember Lisi.
Here.
Councilmember Cumberland.
Here.
Councilmember Clark.
Here.
Councilmember Marr.
All right, I am going to move to adjust the agenda. First, under consent agenda, item number 7 is going to be moved to the action agenda. So it'll be number 12 on the action agenda, number 7. I'm going to add resolution. Under resolutions, these will be first, 2023-165, a motion to adopt resolution 2023-015, thereby acquiring by quitclaim deed certain real property located within the city from Baron Foreman and DHPI LLC and for other related purposes. Resolution 2023-167, motion to adopt resolution in support of the Mississippi Sound Coalition. Under action agenda item 2023-166, motion to authorize travel and other related expenses for the city manager and city council to attend the annual Coast Legislative Meeting to be held March 15, 2023 in Jackson, Mississippi. And under the action agenda, which this will be number 14, motion to dissolve the Diamond Head Senior Center Steering Committee. Could I get a second to move as amended?
Second.
Second made by Councilwoman Lisi. All in favor? Aye. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the City Council will be held on March 21st, 2023 at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers. We have a few announcements that we need to let you know about, starting with March 8th, 2023, from 10 to 4:30 in the activity room is the Diamond Head Community Blood Drive. So if you want to give blood, give the gift of life, please come out and join that. Diamond Head Farmers Market is now every Friday out on the town green from 9 to noon. We had a large crowd this past time, so it's a good event for people to get out to. The March of Mayors, which is held by Extra Table, is the 11 mayors on the Mississippi Gulf Coast collecting food. So the city of Diamond Head once again has canned soup. The collection spots for the canned soup is East Diamond Head Library, Rouse's, City Hall, the club, and the fire department. The donations collected for Extra Table will help support the Hancock County Food Pantry, and I will tell you that every nonprofit is hurting this year. So this is a great cause. Do what you can to get some soup in the baskets, either at Rouse's, like I said, the fire department, the club, City Hall, or the library. And I believe that's all I have in the announcements. So is there any any agenda comments, public comments?
Yours is not on the agenda, is it? No, okay, so it will be later. Yeah, no.
Okay.
One non-agenda.
Yes, and I'm also going to move at this time, which I failed to do. I'm going to move to amend the agenda on top of adjusting the agenda to remove items 2 and 3 under the table. Could I get a second on amending the agenda? Second made by Councilman Clark. All in favor? Aye. City Manager's Report, Mr. John McCraw.
Thank you, ma'am. First off, Bayou Drive kayak launch repairs. The contractor started on Monday the 27th. The contract is a 45-day calendar job. The pilings were installed last week. They're running the stringers, have started running the stringers this week, and we'll start putting the decking down on top of that. So they're moving along pretty quickly on that total job. They're also working on widening the road down to the kayak launch itself so that you'll be able to drive down there, unload, and drive back and park, and then go back and pick up. That's a pretty steep hill to climb back up with a wet kayak, but so this will help out all of that. Lily Pond and the I-10 pond, the pre-construction meeting was held yesterday. The notice to proceed date was set for Monday the 20th. The contractor has 120 calendar days to work on this project as well. He does plan on getting out there probably a little earlier than that, probably sometime next week, to get stuff set up and get mobilized to get started on that project. Parkton Road, the city is still waiting on a will serve from Diamond Head Water and Sewer before the project is advertised. Twin Lakes Park, I'll be meeting with the Dog Park Committee on March the 16th. Phase 4 paving, the current job is demobilized, but you do have on your agenda tonight a change order to adjust for an additional 60 days, which will push this project out to an contract end date of April the 16th. Montjoy Creek, I met with the engineer and Mississippi DMR. We performed an on-site visual inspection of the wetlands in that area. The meeting was very positive. They feel like there's just some wetlands impact that we want. They want him to make sure we steer clear of on our walking trail through there. So we should be able to do that without any trouble, according to the engineer. Noma Drive site work. We are working on getting quotes on the restroom for that facility. Which, as I understand, it seems like a little early, but the contract time on or lead time on that is probably 6 months before you can get one of those at that earliest. So hopefully we'll be in the same time frame of getting that project kind of started and moving forward, so we can have that restroom in about that same time. The engineer also went on site last week. I'm sorry, my time's up, I guess.
Your 3 minutes have ended. Next.
Who knew? The engineer went out and is working with Diamond Head Water and Sewer on comments that they have made regarding the design of the electricity and water and sewer going through that area. So they're working on making those changes for them and sending that back to Water and Sewer to review and inspect. The first meeting of the projects committee will be next Tuesday. We're kind of excited to send that out. Hopefully I'll get some agenda items back from everybody and we can have that first meeting happening next week. Two last things. The city will be hosting a regional planning commission training session on April the 6th. The training will be all day with Tom Hood from the Mississippi Ethics Commission providing a lecture, as well as a legal session by Paul Watkins, who is the City of Oxford attorney. And I would like to thank Councilman Lisi for facilitating and getting this meeting set up for us to host this here in Diamond Head, which will be a nice thing for the entire coast, but especially for Diamond Head. I'm hoping to not only get people here in our office to be in attendance, but also commissioners from the Planning and Zoning Board to be able to come if they can. It's an all-day event, and I know people work. And lastly, Makiki, I would like to ask for a recess for next Thursday, the 16th. We are currently waiting on the project engineer to provide documentation to submit to the bonding company, and we may have a need for a council approval for an adjusted pay app before the next regular meeting. So just kind of the way it goes, unfortunately, with that project.
All right. Any questions to my left? Any questions to my right?
Just one. This is kind of for the council too. After the next council meeting, are y'all okay with staying and doing a workshop to talk about architectural review so we can kind of hash out what might work or not work and start discussing? Does that work?
We generally do a workshop because we have to announce it and publicize and
Well,
advertise.
so
I mean,
Is
it could
that-
be during our regular agenda
Could be on
meeting
a
if you
regular
wanted.
meeting
Mhm.
and just you know,
That's
right
fine. I
before
I just-
recess or adjourn, yeah.
But that, so, did I miss, is that the best way to do it then, to
Well, it
adjourn and
wouldn't
then?
require any, notice, because it would be, I mean, we could still put it, it's gonna be on the agenda,
Right.
workshop for,
Okay,
yeah.
I just wanted to do it the easiest way so that people could discuss and, you know,
Certainly.
wouldn't be as formal.
All right.
So if we could work on that for the next meeting, that'd be great.
Thank you.
But to add to her, it would be helpful if it went on our sign out front, so people interested would be able to come, not just because a lot of people just kind of bypass the agenda line by line.
Understand. We can do that.
Any other questions to my right?
Yeah,
Okay, Councilman Cumberland?
John, did the contractor give you any indication which pond he was gonna start at, the Lily Pond or the other one?
Yes, he is going to start on the Lily Pond, being the largest one. He wants to get mobilized in there and get started on that one. And as dredging begins and as he feels comfortable with it, he's probably going to move some of his crew over to the I-10 pond to really more start the clearing that he feels like he's going to need so that he can get his equipment in and out, putting down mats and all that kind of stuff that he has to do. So, but I believe dredging is going to kind of all be at one pond and then at the other.
And he feels good with the 120 days?
Oh, definitely. He feels like that's not going to be a problem at all for him.
Good, good. Okay, that was it.
I had one question on that project. So the city's gonna be moving some of the spoils off. Public Works is gonna be moving some of them off as they're dried out. And this is not a question, I guess it's more or less a comment. We need to make sure, being that we're assisting, because I've done a lot of projects through the years. When a city gets involved with a contractor, you have to be very cautious that we, first of all, don't get in the way.
Right.
You know, we don't ever hold him up 1 second.
Okay.
If he's got it laid out there, and if he says, well, I can't put more spoils out because the city didn't come get, it's a very delicate subject.
Certainly.
I mean, if he wants to move it off, he already has it in the,
That is correct.
it's
If-
already
If
in,
we are slowing him down, then he will haul it off, and we'll just have to pay that difference. That is
and then
correct.
there's a liability issue. You know, we're out there, he's out there. If somebody's hurt, we have to look at the big picture when the city gets involved in a project that a contractor has all these, and I'm just saying that maybe
Sure.
legal wants to look at that, because I see how that can go either way,
Sure.
like in a second.
Right.
So if we don't haul the spools off, it's already in the cost of the $539,000 for him to haul off. It's already a line item.
No, ma'am. It would be an additional cost because the bid was, and I'll just throw out numbers. I don't really know exactly what it was. It's like 10,000 cubic yards will be left there for us to haul off, and they'll haul off 7,500 cubic yards. So if that switches and they haul off all 17,000 cubic yards, it's going to cost us at the higher rate.
Or maybe we could do ours after it was over with.
Right.
The 10,000 at the end and him.
I don't-
It's
yeah.
gotta be planned very carefully.
I just don't know
I'm
that we
just-
have that much room to lay
Mhm.
down all that spoils, and that was kind of the idea, is that we would continuously be removing as he's putting new down, so. But I agree with you, and
It would,
he talked about his time frame of work, so we maybe have to just adjust our time frame and work after
Mhm.
he's not working.
and he mentioned he could haul it.
Right.
So with all that being said, we
Right.
probably need to work on that collectively. I mean, not me, but those two and you, because I see how that could go. And on my way over, I did receive a text asking if we could get a porta potty out at the kayak launch, because there isn't one out there for the contractors. Can we get one out there tomorrow? Because there's no room for them to, no place for them to go. Okay, thank you. Councilman Clark, you had something?
Yeah, whenever they're hauling off the silt, do we have locations where we're gonna be putting it?
Just really just around in general, a lot of it's gonna be put at the maintenance yard in the back, and just wherever, and then we'll use it wherever we can. There's an expectation that we'll try to use some of it to cause or to create a new wall, I guess, more or less, to help some of where it washes out there at the west end of the pond itself on the I-10 pond.
Okay,
So,
that's all I had.
All right, is there any, and I did mention no public comments for an agenda item. Minutes, could I get a motion to approve the February 22nd, 2023 regularly scheduled meeting minutes?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Cumberland, could I get a second? Second made by Councilman Clark, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolutions, Resolution 2023-165, motion to adopt Resolution 2023-015, thereby acquiring by quitclaim deed certain real property located within the city from Barron Foreman and DHPI LLC and for other related purposes. Could I get a motion?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Cumberland. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilwoman Lisi. Any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right? City Clerk.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi.
Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Mar,
Aye.
Mayor.
Yes. Resolution 2023-167, motion to approve a resolution in support of the Mississippi Sound Coalition. Could I get a motion?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Finley. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Marr. And for this, for discussion, I am going to defer to our legal counsel, Derek, because you've actually worked on this. What an honor.
I
Okay.
did. Yeah, it has been an honor working with this group. This Mississippi Sound Coalition started several years ago. It's a conglomeration of local cities, counties. We have business groups, hotels, we have fishermen. We have a lot of people that are involved in this coalition, and we've taken on a big task of going against the Corps of Engineers. And as Lieutenant Governor Hoseman told us, because he fought that battle when he was Secretary of State, it's quite an undertaking. And he came to our last meeting, and he expressed a lot of support for what we're doing. We got a small victory with U.S. District Court Judge Louis Garola in January of this year. And what he required the Corps of Engineers to do is consult with the National Marine Fisheries Services when they do spillway openings in the future. Before, they had to take no account for when they opened the Bonnie Carey Spillway as to what the impact was on fisheries here in Mississippi. And we know that it has had a devastating impact on our fisheries and our tourism. And so it's a freshwater intrusion, but we know that the water from the Mississippi is not fresh water. It is heavily polluted. And so the salinity of the water, the phosphorus and the fertilizers that are in that water is doing great damage to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. So our little Mississippi Sound Coalition is fighting the big Corps of Engineers, and they now have to consult with the Fisheries Service about what those impacts are on the essential fish habitats. And they've got to do that by September 30th of this year. So some of the things that we've asked the Lieutenant Governor and our legislators, even our U.S. senators, and we've gotten great support from all of them as well, is we need some assistance in helping get the correct information, the correct scientific information to this entity, and to hold the Corps of Engineers accountable for what's happening here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, the impacts. And so obviously that takes some money. Dr. Moby Solangi is one of our advisors, has done great work with studying dolphins and marine turtles, and he knows what these openings have done to the Mississippi Sound. So we're asking the state legislature, we're asking our governor for support, funding to get this science to the federal government and to hold the Corps of Engineers to their feet to the fire to make sure that they consider our Mississippi Sound whenever they open the spillway. And so Diamond Head has been a part of this coalition since day one. It is really something I take a lot of pride in. And so this resolution is asking, and all the cities that are in the coalition are doing the same resolution at the same time, and these will all be delivered up to Jackson. So.
And pretty much all of them are today. And with that being said, Mississippi wanted a voice, a seat at the table, and Mississippi deserved it. So it is a great victory to be able to be heard when the spillways are open. Okay, so with that being said, City Clerk?
Councilmember Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Consent agenda. Could I get a motion to approve consent agenda items 4 through 6, 8, 9, 10, and 11?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilwoman Lisi. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Cumberland. All in favor? Aye. Action agenda items. That's on the action agenda.
Okay.
Number 12 is number 7 on the consent agenda. Could I get a motion, 2023-159, motion to create position and approve job description for a recreation supervisor? Could I get a motion for discussion?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Cumberland. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Clark. So we're now open for discussion. And I'm gonna start with myself if y'all don't mind. So looking at this, and here's the concerns I have. Whenever we do our budget at the beginning of the fiscal year, we set the pay rates for each position and in each category of departments for the employees for the city of Diamond Head. So they're set, and in this form of government, the city manager hires and fires employees. He looks at their resumes, he knows what they're qualified to do. The mayor and council, we set the pay for each category or position that's available within the city. So with that being said, we have not budgeted, so here's my concerns. We have not budgeted for this position in our budget, so we're gonna need a budget amendment. And then we need to know what you intend to pay for this position. You know, what are the costs? What are we gonna set the budget at? So once we have a budget amendment, we know what we're gonna pay for this position, then we can further move forward with where we're headed with this position.
Understand. And there is no, I mean, I'll say timeline on making this happen. This was just to create the position right now. There's nobody in mind as far as that goes, and certainly wasn't creating the position this week and putting somebody in there next week. So it's just to create the position. It's something looking forward to the way we are as a city, the things that are coming online for us, the Noma Drive kayak launch and boat launch and so forth. Somebody's going to have to be in charge of that. The Montjoy Creek, the other walking trails and parks that we have are just things that somebody's going to have to start taking care of and be the one in charge of and keep it, maintaining it. And that's not something that Ty and his guys in Public Works can be the one to do for every bit of this at some point in time. Somebody else is going to have to help out and step up. And that was the idea. Truthfully, looking at probably only to start with even as a part-time position, possibly tying it with the code enforcement, since I can't seem to find somebody to part-time. Maybe somebody full-time would be willing to do both parts of that job and making it work that way.
Okay, that's a good way to head in that. And I'll have to, speaking of Ty and the Public Works, once again, give them a shout out, because they do. Do I think Ty can handle all this? Oh, I do, because the man gets it done. He gets it done. He gets it done with they're doing a tremendous job. That this is just, before I can vote on it personally, I don't know what the other comments are. Anybody have any comments to my right?
Well, did you have a question?
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask, do you see like sports in the future for the city, like a youth sports league? And would this person help with that?
A sports league is not really something that the city would take over as far as managing, but the fields or areas where they do play would be
I
somewhat
guess that's
something.
really what I meant, yeah.
That would be something that the city would have to
Yeah.
schedule with
Right,
and
but
work with those
that would be
organizations.
this position
Correct.
too,
Yes,
if we ever
definitely.
had that, because I know we've got a tremendous number of children that, have to go other places, so that's kind of exciting to think that we may be able to do more here.
Well, looking forward, I think it's definitely a good thing. It's gonna have to be at some point.
Yes, sir, I agree. Thank you.
All right, so is there any other discussion?
Well, I just want to say that I like the idea of you tying in the code enforcement with it. I do think it's something that will be necessary. I don't know if the timing is really necessary at this point in time. I don't don't think even if we waited till the summer, it would be not being ahead of when we really need it. My one concern is, especially when you hire people, salaries take a big bite out of the budget. And I'm just wondering, you know, are we getting into so many other things that we're forgetting that we still have a major drainage problem that we have to keep looking after? And I'm worried about when we start diverting our attention, if you have a recreation director, you're going to start making projects for them to do, which means we're gonna start investing money elsewhere. And so that kind of worries me for right now. I think I would have to percolate on it for another 6 months before I would make a
Certainly.
final
and-
decision.
And I will agree with you, and that would be probably the individual's biggest job, if and when they do start, would be working on grant funding to be able to fund playgrounds or parks and those kinds of things to help pay for just what you're saying, the projects that we're looking at. Logistically, as far as for this budget year, the idea was the part-time code enforcement that has not been paid up to this point, which is almost 6 months, as well as the building inspector that we didn't have funded for the last 6 months as well. That would be where the funding would come to cover the cost of this for this fiscal year.
Gotcha.
But yes, it would be a new position and an increased cost for next budget year.
I would like to see the building inspector position filled. You know, we are like,
That position is filled, ma'am.
You filled?
He started March 1st.
okay, who is he? This is news to me. I hadn't seen him.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Steve Perone.
Perone,
Yes.
okay. Has anybody met him? I mean, we hadn't, oh, we have two people that have met him. Okay, so he's real. And looking at the Park and Recs, you know, I've been reading and doing research with the National Recs and Park Association and getting into park. We have so much work to do before we move forward with this. You know, even if we get somebody in here to look at what does it cost to take over park areas? What is the maintenance? What is the 50-year plan on it? What condition are they in? What do we need to do to bring them up to par? There is 50 million questions I have without me even thinking before I think about moving in this direction. That's just all I have to say about that. Okay, well, I think we all clearly said what we need to say.
Well, I just want one more thing. I don't think we're looking for the word was, what was it, recreation director?
Supervisor.
Recreation supervisor. I think more on an immediate, again, not today, but sooner than some of us are talking about. When we have the kayak launch back open and the new walking trails are open and the new kayak, when you have all these things going, somebody has to be looking at those things on a day-to-day basis, doing trash collection, watching for vandalism, any type of issues, safety issues, and I don't think that's something that just can't be happenstance. We've seen what has happened with the kayak launch before, and if you don't recall the last walking trail boardwalk we had out in Logtown, where the kids go out in the middle of the night and set that on fire, that stuff has to be, you know, somebody has to be watching it. That's correct. So if it's somebody that we have currently, but at some point as these things expand, this person will be necessary. And thank you for bringing it up.
As soon as we expand and get those projects that we've been waiting on for a while. That is something we probably need to look at. All right, moving right along. Action agenda item number 13, 2023-166. Motion to authorize travel and other related expenses for the city manager and city council to attend the annual Coast Legislation meeting to be held on March 15th, 2023 in Jackson, Mississippi. Motion?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Clark. Second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Cumberland. Any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Action item agenda number 14, motion to dissolve the Diamond Head Senior Steering Committee. Could I get a motion?
So moved.
I move. Councilwoman Lacey.
I can second. Sorry.
I'll second. Mayor second. Any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right? I just want to say that the committee met today, and that Diamond Head Senior Steering Committee was a committee set up by the mayor and council. This was part of the city. This has been part of the city. We have been working with the city. Today, we had our last meeting. We have formed a nonprofit. The group of the nonprofit is 3 members that sit on the steering committee. Today, we have decided that we're going to dissolve the committee, and we're going to be moving to the library, and we're very excited about this because the library has did a presentation. They have so many things to help the seniors, so many things already established that we're working on, so it's going to be a great partnership. But the Diamond Head Senior Village does want to reach out to the city, to the staff, to everybody, and say thank you very much for letting us use the activity room. For when we used it, we greatly appreciated it. Thank you for your support, and you will be hearing from us in the future. With that being said, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, public comments on a non-agenda item.
That would be.
Mr. Durrell.
Wait, what about the docket?
Oh,
Nope.
okay, we
Well,
can go.
and the action agenda, 9 through 11.
Oh, yeah, the action agenda.
Oh,
9 through
gosh, I
11.
thought we were going, you want to come say what you have to say, and I'll
we-
just modify the agenda. Come on up, you can come up. I'm so sorry.
For y'all that don't know who I am, I'm Darrell Pellegrin. I live on Hanley Place. I got a drainage problem, serious drainage problem. It's not getting any better. I talked to some councilmen. They said it's been taken care of. It has not been taken care of. It's in the elevation between the house that was built and my garage is 34 inches. The water was coming off that thing, looked like a shed. Coming off, coming off, coming off. Nancy Devereaux came over there and said this is unacceptable. I agree with her. It was running on my property, down the drainage, into the evening. Now, what can we do? I'm looking for answers right now. What can we do? Do anything? Chuck, it's your district.
I would have to get with the engineer.
And I think we
got it.
had them come out there. I thought that's where we were.
We got every plot that was done on the property. I paid to have it done. We got 3 or 4 different plots on the property. All say the same thing. Got to dig a swale in there. When we're gonna dig the swale?
Let us give the city manager, because I know, was the city engineer working on this with the city manager?
The city engineer went out there and looked at the property and came back with a solution, and the Public Works went out there and did that a few months ago. Now,
It's stalled.
It didn't work, it didn't fix
Okay.
us. Okay, well, can we,
we'll go back out there and take another
Thank you
review.
very
of it.
much.
And Ty does say there is still work that is needing to
Oh,
be done.
okay.
They're coordinating with the adjacent property owners on getting to the easement and getting that additional work done.
can we try to get that done before the next meeting, because it has been going on? He's saying no because he's hauling off muck from the lily pond. That's why he's busy, and but maybe can we get the engineer to go, or do you need the engineer, or do you know specifically? He knows what he needs to do. Okay.
So it's not getting done. Year and a half passed by. It's not getting done.
Do we have any idea when it will be done? John?
No.
As soon as we can finish up with Lily and Miller Pond, I can't say how long it's gonna take before we finish that up. But we'll get there, as soon as we can. I did not realize this was still a problem for you. We solved it, or we went out there and, did what we needed to do, and it seemed like everything was fine. And so
No,
this is
it's
first
not
I'm hearing
fine.
back that it's still a problem. So we'll
Now,
get back out there and address it
Some of
as
you
soon as
wasn't on
we
the
can.
council when he started building the plaza. And drainage has been bad since then. It's getting worse. Now they're not even cutting the grass. So, can we do something or can't we do something? If we can't, let me know.
So is his halfway finished or partially?
The issue on his side was worked on, and then the last thing we need to do is dig a swale through the back of the 2 gentlemen behind, or the residents behind behind his property. That's the part we have not done yet.
Is the swale gonna be dug on the new lot? It's gonna be done, it is done on the new lot, on the rear
On the rear of the new lot.
of the
going,
new lot.
yes,
And then
that's
it's gonna slope to drain to his backyard, then out to the big ditch. I mean, I know this property like the back of my hand.
No, it's gonna go through the drainage easement of the two residents behind him. So it wouldn't go towards his property.
So you
Well, not
sending
actually
it off to
behind him.
Hannah Circle.
Yeah, that's correct.
Well, then you got a lot of work to do. Oh, yeah, you got a lot of work to do. 'Cause
18 months. How much time he needs?
I don't know, but that is a big project. So we need to try to get that. It has been a long time. I concur with you. We've got it on our agenda. We will discuss it at the next council meeting to see when it's gonna be done. And I assumed it was all done. I haven't heard from you, so I assumed it's not done.
Everybody I talk to in the councils assumes it's been done.
Mm-hmm.
Been a long time.
But I have been out there every time it rained when it was
Yeah,
going on.
I
I have been
appreciate you
very
coming.
faithful, and I assumed they did it, but I didn't know they hadn't. Okay.
The building inspector lives in the house adjacent to me. The new building inspector.
Okay.
Are the other property owners okay with the plan, or
Well,
what they're gonna
Yeah.
do?
one of them is and one of them's not.
Does that have anything to do with it?
It does
It
not,
taking
no.
time? No? Okay.
All right.
Thank you. And I've got it on here. We're gonna bring it up at the next meeting, the next meeting, the next meeting, till we see when it's done.
I wouldn't bring it up too many times. You know, it's been 18 months now. If the city's not gonna do something about it, it's got pictures, it got everything we need to know. I have to take other action.
Thank you, Mr. Durrell.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so moving on to action agenda item number 9, 2023-16.
Mayor, you did under consent. We just talked
I
to
did.
say-
So I'm gonna say not 9 through 10, 11. Take those
Those
off.
take those
Mhm. Action agenda item number 9, 2023-160, motion of discussion and possible action requesting the administration to e-blast all future P and Z agendas. Motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Marr, second.
Second.
Second made by Councilman Cumberland. Any discussion to my left?
I think it's a good idea to
Any-
e-blast it.
Okay, any discussion to my right?
I think it's a great idea.
What would be the downside? Why would we not do it? Council?
Just two things. One, not all the residents are signed up for e-blast, so don't believe that everybody's now going to get it. There are still gonna be people that say, I didn't get it, I didn't know. Secondly, it does put an additional requirement on the administration that if they don't do it, could give an applicant a reason to say, well, you didn't follow your own procedures, we're gonna appeal the decision you made. So what I would say about this is this. We did recently amend some of our rules with respect to notice, which neighboring properties get notices of when there are a zoning request or a variance request. We do advertise in the paper. Planning and zoning meets they meet the fourth Tuesday of every month at 6 o'clock. I would suggest we, make sure we have those agendas. Yeah, it's on the website. That information's on the website. It's a regularly scheduled meeting. So we're doing statutorily and we're doing our ordinance-wise what we're supposed to be doing. So, I don't necessarily have an objection to it. I just want you to know, I don't know how many people are signed up for e-blast, about 800 or so. So it's not gonna be,
They're not all done.
and they're not all in Diamond Head. So, you're putting an additional requirement on the folks that if they don't do, are you giving somebody grounds to say, oh, I'm gonna appeal because I didn't know? But it doesn't have to, it could be a goal that they always try to get this out. I mean, sometimes the agendas go out a little bit quicker than other times with planning and zoning, depending on the information they have.
Okay, I just had a question. So is it possible in a case like that to put some kind of disclaimer on the website that, we will make every attempt to, but this doesn't constitute notice, something like that?
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good idea. Put something on the,
like
put something on the website that says, look, planning and zoning meetings are the fourth Tuesday of every
Right.
month at 6 o'clock. We do our
Whenever
best to get the
possible, we
agenda.
will
Yeah, if you're
send the
interested in
agenda.
receiving, and maybe put on there, and I'm committing for Pat here, and he's taking notes studiously, I know. But, put some language on there that we have the meetings regularly, we have the calendar on there, we do our best to post the agenda. If you're interested in receiving it, sign up for the e-blast.
Right.
In addition, these residents automatically will get notice if you're in so many feet of the residence, and then also, it's advertised in the Seacoast Echo and all of that. So just, I don't know, Pat, I guess
Can you
I could ask you, Pat, do you have any issues? But I told you kind of from the legal perspective.
instead of making it a regular thing, can you put just a thing with the e-blast saying, when time permits, we will do this, or when,
Then you'll be accused of,
Hiding
you'll be
things.
accused of only putting the ones out
Yeah.
that you feel are fabulous and the ones that aren't.
Yeah.
Because I
Or
think
the
it's a-
things you
I
want
think it's
people
a
to know
very-
about, you put out there, and the
Yes.
things we're already.
It really is.
There are, in some
Mm-hmm.
cities, I know in my city of Gulfport, they accuse the city of hiding things in plain sight, and people are always gonna say, I didn't know. But I will say this, we had a room full of people at the last planning and zoning meeting, so we have heavily attended planning and zoning meetings.
And I
So if
will
you
s-
don't know,
Mhm.
some of it's on the residents, I will say that.
And I walked in late and it was packed. So, it was like,
But I always laugh, one of the things, and it's just, it's in every city, and city attorneys trade war stories, but one of the things you'll almost always hear at a meeting like that is the first couple residents will say, we didn't even know about this. And I'm thinking, but you're here. So that's just our, but any effort to kind of get the word out, we're blessed in Diamond Head. We have a very tight-knit community that shows up. And when there is something important like a rezoning, folks show up. But, so just, again, my concern is just, if we do something, commit ourselves to doing something, and we, again, it's only 800 people that get it, so it's not gonna get to everybody, and then what about those people that aren't on e-blast, don't have email? They're gonna say, well, wait, I didn't get it. So, but we could put something on the website, try it, see how that works.
so out of 9,529 residents, only 800 signed up. And I see that
Only 200 votes, so.
Exactly. And 3,000 residents that are 60 and older that I'm dealing with and working with the senior village. I didn't realize how many folks do not have emails or use them, but I see it. It's a lot. Okay.
One more thing. So are we sending out an email? Like it seems like every day I come by here, there's a city council meeting. Is planning and zoning not on that sign as well?
They are.
Mm.
They are.
Are we sending out do we send out on a regular basis an e-blast, that city council meeting is?
No,
Okay. All right.
we don't.
Okay.
All right.
Didn't we have at one point a person who was in charge of, like, kind of marketing for the city and going to be looking into a newsletter and and they also got other jobs? Did those other jobs kind of like cut off the marketing part of the job? Because I do think we need to have better communications with the citizens. I think that sign out front should be moved to the front so people coming in more can see it rather than just those driving by the circle. And we should buy a second one for the people coming in the back way so that people can take a look at both, and see. It'll be the same message, but, we're making something that if you had a business and had a sign that only said city council all the time, people would laugh. Why did you invest in that? I think we're wasting the taxpayers' money by just putting up 1 or 2 items every week. We need to have it go and say what's happening in terms of just short little nuggets, So you could probably fit with, people don't have to read everything every time around, but in the space of a week, they'll get it.
Because you'd have to drive around it a few times to read. Because, I just stopped dead and I'm like, okay,
Stop the
city
production.
council meeting, and then it's,
I know we're in the city of Diamond Head every time I pass, but that seems to be the longest staying thing on there.
all right, so did we move, this was for discussion?
Can I
Okay.
add one thing? I'm sorry that I just remembered. And this is one more just communication thing for the website that John and I had talked about. A lot of us are getting
comments from people in our wards that, oh, we didn't know that we're gonna be digging on our street, and it's not the city, it's a subcontract, it's AT&T, or it's, Coast Electric, and we had talked about maybe adding a section on the website specifically for, you know, work going on in the city or something very visible and easily accessible, so that if somebody's concerned that I don't know who these people are on my street, they can easily find, like what work is going on.
Yeah, and that's a little bit harder, and I'm working on that, because it's hard to know when they plan on.
Right.
Because I'll get plans, you know, from 6 months ago,
Which is
approved
why
before it
you
gets to us.
can't go
but-
send a letter to everybody
Right.
on the street in a timely, right, so,
But I am trying to put that on there. I actually updated the drainage page and
Okay.
listed all the current drainage projects that we have out there. So if you go to our website, you'll be able to see those all listed out there.
but we can.
You know,
Yeah,
a,
sorry.
a good solution to this, and what I did as general manager of both the utility districts and the water sewer district here still continues with it, is we need to mandate, and I don't care what it is, a utility company, I don't care who they are. They need to hang door hangers on every door on the street saying, hey, this is AT&T, we're working on your street. Hey, this is, and I just threw AT&T out. Hey, this is Coast Connect working on, we need to mandate, if they're gonna pull a permit and work on these streets, they need to do door hangers and let the residents know, because I'm the one that gets questioned on Facebook, and I have no idea who's over on what and what doing what. So,
24 hours in advance, right?
exactly. So you need to be able to put we need to mandate that. Very simple thing and courteous thing to do.
Yeah, we just have to make sure we look at our littering and loitering ordinance and see, and we can make an exception for
The water
city.
sewer's been doing
So
it.
we can, yeah, I
Mhm.
just want to double check that, but that's actually a really good idea.
It is,
Because it'll
it
stop a
is.
lot of the,
Mhm.
people will know.
They'll
They'll know
And-
who's there.
And they need to know.
They'll have a number on it for them to call.
That's right. It has a number to call with questions. You can even print them on your printer and do it. So, I mean, it's not a cost item we're asking them to do. It's a nice gesture that would go a long way. And the water sewer is doing it, and they worked well. We had good response with that. Okay, so moving right along to
We're
action.
gonna change that to possible action, or we're just gonna,
Well, how do y'all feel about that? I think we discussed it, and I think I personally felt that I'm gonna heed legal's advice, because I see how that could go south. But any discussion on my left? Do you wanna move forward with it, or?
I mean, whatever y'all want to do.
Just take a
I
vote.
like his idea of just putting some sort of cautionary thing on the website and going ahead and trying doing it.
Okay,
Yeah, do you want to try the website adjustment first, put the information on the website, get the agendas up there and tell people, and then before we go to the e-blast thing, or, I mean, but again, y'all decide. I've given you my kind of thoughts, pro and con.
when you say the website, are we not already putting this on the website?
We are, but we can put some of that language about who's getting the notices, you know, all that type of thing, and, you know, we can put all that on there.
what even would be nice if the calendar was on the first page of the website, and that would not take long to do. The calendar, you gotta click and move on, but if the calendar was first, because you click on the calendar, it's active. You click on, it says P and Z, it goes right to the agendas.
Oh, that would be
Just
nice.
put that on the front page, and that should be and it's already a nice tool. The calendar's fabulous. Who's working on that? She's doing a good job. The calendar's up to date, everything on it, excellent. Okay, any further discussion? Action agenda item, motion 2023-161, motion to grant Dennis Mitchell Jr. a variance of 9.5 inches for the side yard setback of 10 feet to construct a new resident. The Planning Commission voted 4-0 to recommend the variance. The address is 1430 Hannah McCullough Place. The tax parcel number is 132R-0-10-118.000. The property is a R2 zoning district. The case file number is 2023-00000. Could I get a motion? Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Cumberland. Any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right? All in favor? Aye. Motion 2023-163, motion to deny the variance request by the Camp House to exceed the 150 square foot maximum by 50 square feet on the street facing wall. on the street-facing wall. The Planning Commission voted to deny 4-0. The property address is 3410 Yacht Club Circle. The tax parcel number is 131M-2-11-058.000. The property is in a C2 zoning. The case file number is 202300025. Could I get a motion?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second, Councilwoman Lisi. Any discussion to my left?
Got a couple questions. Okay, what are the size limits based on signs? Is it a particular size building? You know, you
Here comes the man. He's been chomping at the bit.
It's a maximum of 200 square feet is what it is. So no matter whether, it is based upon the building, you have a certain percentage that you can have of the building frontage that you can have. And it's 3 lineal square, per 3 lineal feet, you get so many square feet, et cetera. But it is a maximum of 200. So if you had a building that stretched very long, you're still at a maximum of 200 square feet. That's the way the ordinance reads.
also, did they ask if they could put a smaller sign on there? Was it brought up in discussion?
Well, when the signage was originally applied for, they asked for the whole, what you see on your page there, the whole signage there. We told them that they were over 200 square feet, so they said eliminate the crab there, which was 70 square feet, I believe it was, okay? And that they would file a variance for that, and they did, and the Planning Commission denied that.
Okay. Also, do we have any codes or policies or anything on murals, painting on buildings or anything?
No, it does not. It covers signs, not murals.
Okay, but we don't have anything for murals?
No,
Okay.
we do not.
Are they allowed? Because I hadn't.
Well, normally if it says it's not allowed, it is allowed.
Oh.
And I don't see anything that says it's not allowed. I'm not aware of anything.
I mean, I don't
in
know
the
how many
ordinance.
places we have in Diamond Head that you can put a mural. You know, I know it's the side of a grocery store up here. There's a
You
big
have
sign
plans
there,
for
probably
that?
the biggest one in
You have
Diamond.
plans for that?
He's
Do I
only
need one?
said it a few times, maybe.
There is a difference between a mural and a sign.
Yeah.
Okay. A mural is considered a work of art.
Right.
A sign is considered an advertisement. And our ordinances apply to signs.
Yes.
So if someone hypothetically did want to paint a mural, would they need to provide a sketch and let you know what it's going to look like and get that approved, or can they just get painting?
Legal?
Because I'm thinking this might be something we need to address.
Well, I'm not sure I have an answer for that. That is something that we'll have to speak with
We
legal
should
about,
check
see
on
if we
that.
need to come up with that kind of language in the ordinances to cover that.
As Pat says, if there's
Councilman Clark.
if there's nothing prohibiting it, then right now it is technically legal. We'll take a look at it.
Well, you know
I'm
what, I
familiar
think
with
we
it.
just need
Sure.
some control
I-
over what.
No, I agree with you. I agree
We'll take a
100%.
look.
This is something that had not been considered previously, but if you look in Bay St. Louis, they have
It's a
murals
great
there,
idea.
Waveland,
We just
other
need to know what's
cities.
going to happen before it does.
So I think we should have, within our role of making sure that things are proper and appropriate and within what the residents of Diamond Head want, I think that should probably be somehow included in the ordinance. So
But we
I
can-
guess you've assigned me something.
We can think about that.
Okay.
Something for the
Okay.
Architectural Review Committee.
That's right.
Yes, that's where I was going.
He just
Must have read my
passed it.
mind.
Okay, is there any more discussion to my left?
Good.
To my right? Okay, all in favor to approve the motion to deny the variance?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Could I get a motion to approve docket of claims DKT 230514, DKT 230546 in the amount of $129,972.74?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Finley. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any other business before the council? Do we need executive session?
No.
No, we do not. Okay. Could I get a motion to recess the meeting until Thursday, March 16th at 12:30 p.m.?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Finley. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Marr. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.